Hey everyone, and welcome back for another deep dive. Today we're going to be looking at all the latest news in genomics.
Genomics news.
Exactly. And we've got quite a mix of sources for you this week.
Yeah.
We have got everything from cutting-edge research articles to some insightful industry blogs.
That's right.
So buckle up because we're going to cover a potential breakthrough in Huntington's disease
Wow.
and a partnership that could really revolutionize how we use genomic data in healthcare.
It's really remarkable how fast this field is moving.
It really is.
Yeah, the sheer volume of discoveries and innovations is just mind-blowing.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So let's jump right in with that Huntington's disease study.
Okay.
This one's from the RNA Sec blog, and it uses RNA sequencing to shed new light on this really challenging neurodegenerative disorder.
RNA sequencing, yeah.
Now, I know we've talked about RNA sequencing before,
We have.
but for those who may be new to the show or need a quick refresher,
Right.
could you just give us a quick rundown of what it is and why it's such a useful tool for studying diseases?
Sure. So think of DNA as your body's instruction manual.
Yeah.
You know, it's got all the genes that make you
Right.
you. But those genes, they're not always active.
Mhm.
RNA sequencing, it's basically like taking a snapshot of which genes are switched on
Okay.
at a specific moment in time. And this is really important because it allows us to see what's actually happening in cells,
Yeah.
not just what the DNA blueprint says could happen.
Gotcha.
And in the context of disease research, this can be incredibly powerful because RNA sequencing can reveal how gene activity changes in response to a disease.
I see.
And that can potentially point us to new therapeutic targets.
So it's like seeing the play in action rather than just reading the script.
Exactly. It's about understanding the dynamics.
That's a great analogy. And this study about Huntington's disease, it found something really interesting.
Yeah.
It found that the mutation responsible for Huntington's glare, it might not actually become toxic until later in life.
Really?
Yeah.
That's fascinating.
So that seems like a pretty big deal, right?
Absolutely. This finding opens up some really intriguing possibilities for treatment. You know, if we can figure out what triggers that mutation to become toxic later on in life,
Right.
we might be able to intervene and prevent the disease from progressing.
That's the hope. And the article does mention potential therapeutic strategies,
Yeah.
but it doesn't really dive into specifics.
Right.
So based on this finding, what kind of strategies could we be talking about?
Well, one possibility is to develop therapies that target the specific mechanisms that
Okay.
make the mutation toxic.
Yeah.
So, for example, if we can identify molecules that interact with the mutated protein and kind of contribute to its toxicity,
Yeah.
then we might be able to design drugs
Okay.
that block those interactions.
So basically disrupt that process.
Exactly. Interfere with the bad stuff happening.
I like it.
Another avenue could involve gene therapy approaches,
Okay.
aimed at either silencing or correcting the mutated gene.
So kind of going right to the source of the problem.
Yeah.
It's good. Well, it's still early days, but this research seems to offer a glimmer of hope
It does.
for those affected by Huntington's disease.
It really does.
And it's coming from some pretty reputable institutions, too.
Oh,
The
yeah.
Broad Institute,
Right.
Harvard Medical School,
Of course.
McLean Hospital.
Yeah, those are big names.
So that definitely adds some weight to the findings.
For sure. Those are institutions with a really strong track record in genomics research, which definitely lends credibility to these findings.
Yeah,
It's going to be interesting to see how this research progresses and how the scientific community builds upon it.
definitely. All right, let's move on to a news item about how genomic data is being used in healthcare.
Okay.
This one also from the RNA Sec blog is about a partnership between OMNY Health and Cipher Medicine.
I've heard of them.
Yeah, they're working on integrating something called transcriptome genomic data into electronic medical records.
EMRs.
Yeah, exactly.
Interesting.
So for our listeners who might not be familiar with this, could you explain what exactly is transcriptome genomic data?
Sure.
And how does it differ from traditional DNA sequencing?
So think of it this way. DNA sequencing tells you what genes you have,
Okay.
but transcriptome analysis tells you which of those genes are actually being used
Okay.
by your cells at a given moment.
So it's not just what's in the instruction manual,
Yeah.
it's what's actually being built.
Exactly. It goes beyond the static blueprint of DNA and captures the dynamic activity of your genes.
I see.
And this is particularly relevant for personalized medicine.
Well, and how so?
Well, it can provide insights into how individuals might respond to specific treatments based on their unique gene expression profiles.
So it's like looking at the script that your cells are reading from rather than just the entire library of scripts they have access to.
Exactly. It's about understanding what's happening in real time, which is crucial for tailoring treatments and predicting disease risk.
And this partnership is aiming to integrate this data into EMRs.
EMRs, right?
So that seems like a pretty big step towards personalized medicine, don't you think?
Absolutely. Imagine a future where your doctor can access your transcriptomic data along with your medical history and family history.
Wow.
This would allow them to make much more informed decisions about your care, potentially identifying diseases earlier and prescribing treatments that are more likely to be effective for you.
That's incredible. And this Cipher Medicine company, they have a pretty impressive database, don't they?
They do. They boast the world's largest immunology clinico-transcriptomics database.
Wow. What does that even mean?
It means they have a massive amount of data linking gene expression patterns to specific diseases and treatment responses.
Okay.
Integrating this data into EMRs could really revolutionize how we diagnose and treat diseases.
This partnership seems like a pretty big deal. It has the potential to make personalized medicine a reality for so many people, which is incredibly exciting.
It certainly is a step in that direction, and it really highlights how genomics is moving beyond the research lab and into the realm of clinical practice.
Definitely. All right, before we jump into some other interesting genomics news snippets, let's just take a moment to reflect on these two stories.
Sure, what are your thoughts?
Well, I just think it's incredible how genomics is advancing on so many fronts. From deepening our understanding of complex diseases like Huntington's to driving the development of personalized medicine. It's really remarkable.
I completely agree. It's a really exciting time to be following this field with so much potential for transformative breakthroughs.
Okay, so let's move on to some other noteworthy genomics news.
Sounds good. What else have you got for us?
Well, there's a course being offered by BioWolf, which is the NIH's high-performance computing system.
Okay.
It's called BT Tape Course Introduction to Bulk RNA Sequencing Analysis.
Catchy.
And it provides hands-on experience in, you guessed it, analyzing bulk RNA sequencing data.
That's fantastic. It's great to see educational resources keeping pace with the rapid advancements in genomics.
Absolutely. Next up, we have a snippet from the journal Genomics, Proteomics, and Bioinformatics.
Okay.
It talks about the type 3 IFN response.
Interesting.
This response seems to be restricted to immune cells and epithelial cells
Okay.
and can be activated independently of type IFN signaling.
So it sounds like this research is adding another layer to our understanding of the immune system's complexity.
Right.
The fact that the type 3 IFN response can be activated independently of type I signaling suggests there might be multiple pathways we could target for immune modulation.
It's like peeling back the layers of an onion. The more we learn, the more we realize
Right.
how much more there is to discover.
It certainly highlights the intricate and interconnected nature of biological system.
Absolutely. And finally, we have a Nature Journal article highlighting technologies to watch in 2025.
2025, huh?
Yeah, they mention advanced immunotherapies,
Okay.
which kind of builds on what we were just discussing.
Yeah.
And even self-driving laboratories.
Self-driving labs. That
Yeah.
sounds like something straight out of science fiction.
I know, right? But apparently it's becoming a reality.
Yeah.
Imagine AI-powered robots conducting experiments, analyzing data, and even designing new experiments. This could dramatically accelerate scientific discovery.
It's remarkable to think about the possibilities, and it speaks to the growing role of AI and automation in scientific research. These quick hits, they really provide a glimpse into the diverse and rapidly evolving landscape of genomics. What stands out to you from these snippets?
I think what strikes me is the convergence of different disciplines. Biology, computer science, data analytics, and even robotics, all coming together to drive innovation in genomics. It's a truly interdisciplinary field, and that's what makes it so exciting.
I completely agree. It's like all these different streams flowing together to create this powerful river of discovery. It's exhilarating to be a part of it, even just as observers.
I'm already eager to see what the next wave of genomics news brings.
Me too. This field never fails to amaze me. It's like we're on the verge of a whole new era in medicine and biology.
Definitely. And speaking of new eras, that Nature article mentioned some other technologies to watch in 2025 besides self-driving labs. They highlighted advanced immunotherapies. We touched on that with the type 3 IFN response.
Yeah.
But they also mentioned something pretty mind-blowing. Self-driving laboratories.
Self-driving labs. Now that's a concept I haven't quite wrapped my head around yet.
So imagine this. AI-powered robots running experiments, analyzing the data, and even coming up with new experiments to run all without any human intervention.
That sounds like something straight out of a sci-fi movie. What would that even mean for the pace of research?
It could potentially speed things up exponentially. Think
Yeah.
about it. Robots don't need sleep. They don't get tired, and they can process information so much faster than we can. It can be a real game changer, especially for fields like genomics that are already moving at such a rapid pace.
It's incredible to think about the possibilities, but like with any new technology, there are bound to be challenges and ethical considerations. Who would be responsible if a self-driving lab made a mistake? How do we ensure that these labs are used safely and ethically?
Those are all important questions that we'll need to address as this technology develops. It's a good reminder that scientific progress always comes with a responsibility to consider the broader societal implications.
Absolutely. It's not just about the science itself. It's about how we use it and what impact it has on the world around us.
Speaking of impact, let's circle back to that partnership between OM&Y Health and Cipher Medicine. Integrating transcriptomic data into EMRs could have such a profound impact on healthcare. Imagine a world where doctors have access to not just your DNA, but a real-time snapshot of what your genes are doing.
It's like having a personalized dashboard for your health, allowing doctors to make more precise diagnoses, tailor treatments to your individual needs, and potentially even prevent diseases before they develop.
It's a powerful vision, but it also raises some important questions. Will this technology be accessible to everyone, or will it only benefit those who can afford it? How do we ensure that this data is used responsibly and that people's privacy is protected?
Those are crucial considerations. Equity and access are paramount when it comes to healthcare innovations. We need to make sure that everyone benefits from these advancements, not just a select few.
And as we generate and analyze more and more genomic data, protecting privacy and ensuring data security becomes even more critical.
Absolutely. We need robust safeguards in place to prevent misuse of this sensitive information.
It seems like every step forward in genomics brings a new set of challenges and ethical considerations.
It's a reminder that science doesn't exist in a vacuum. It's intertwined with societal values, ethics, and policy.
And that's why it's so important to have these conversations, to engage with different perspectives, and to consider the potential consequences of our actions.
Exactly. Scientific progress should go hand in hand with responsible innovation.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground today, from groundbreaking research to cutting-edge technologies. What stands out to you as the most significant development in genomics right now?
I think the most compelling trend is the shift from focusing solely on DNA to understanding the dynamic interplay of genes, RNA, and proteins.
You're talking about that systems-level view of biology, right? Moving beyond just the individual genes to understanding how they all work together as a complex network.
Exactly. And this shift is being driven by advances in technologies like RNA sequencing and proteomics, which allow us to capture a much richer and more nuanced picture of what's happening inside cells.
And this systems-level understanding is what's fueling progress in areas like personalized medicine and drug development.
Precisely by understanding how genes and proteins interact in different contexts, we can develop more targeted and effective therapies.
It's like moving from a black and white photo to a high-definition color image. We're seeing the complexity of life in a whole new way.
And that's what makes genomics so fascinating. It's like we're continually peeling back the layers of a mystery, uncovering new insights with each discovery.
It's a journey of endless exploration, and it's exciting to be a part of it, even just as observers.
Speaking of observers, I'm curious to know what our listeners are thinking. What stands out to them from today's deep dive into genomics news?
It's amazing to think how much we've learned about genomics in such a short amount of time.
It really is a testament to human ingenuity.
Right.
And, our drive to understand this.
Yeah, the relentless pursuit of knowledge.
Exactly.
But for everything we've discovered, it still feels like we're only scratching the surface.
Oh, absolutely. The more we learn,
Yeah.
the more we realize just how much more there is out there to discover.
It's like we're standing at the edge of this vast, uncharted territory.
Yeah.
Just full of possibilities and mysteries waiting to be unveiled.
And that's what makes genomics so captivating.
I agree.
It's this field that's driven by curiosity and innovation and this desire to understand, the very foundations of life.
It really is. So I'm curious, thinking about all the advancements we've discussed today, what do you see as the biggest challenges facing the field of genomics going forward?
Well, one of the biggest challenges, in my view, is translating these incredible scientific discoveries, into tangible benefits for human health. I mean, we've made remarkable progress in understanding the genetic basis of diseases,
Yeah.
but developing effective treatments based on that knowledge is still a really complex
Right.
and often lengthy process.
So it's that classic gap between, basic research and clinical application.
Exactly. Bridging that gap requires a lot of collaboration,
Oh, wow.
between researchers and clinicians and pharmaceutical companies and regulatory agencies. It's a complex ecosystem.
Wow.
And streamlining that whole process of translating scientific discoveries into real-world therapies, I
Yeah.
think that's crucial.
That makes a lot of sense. What other challenges come to mind?
Well, another key challenge is ensuring equitable access
Okay.
to genomic technologies and therapies. As we develop more personalized approaches to medicine, we need to make sure that everyone benefits, not just a privileged few.
So you're talking about issues of affordability and accessibility.
Precisely, genomic sequencing and personalized therapies, they can be expensive.
Yeah.
And we need to find ways to make them more widely available, regardless of socioeconomic status or geographic location.
Those are definitely important considerations. Anything else?
Yeah, I think another really critical challenge is addressing the ethical and societal implications of genomics.
Okay.
As we gain a deeper understanding of our genetic makeup and develop these powerful tools to manipulate it,
Right.
we really need to carefully consider the potential consequences.
It's like we're wielding this incredibly powerful new tool,
Right.
and we need to be very mindful of how we use it.
Exactly. We need to have really open and honest conversations
Yeah.
about issues like genetic privacy and data security and the potential for genetic discrimination. It's crucial to ensure that these technologies are used responsibly and ethically.
I think it's great that we're acknowledging these challenges.
Yeah.
It's a good reminder that scientific progress isn't just about making discoveries.
Right.
It's also about using those discoveries wisely and ethically.
Absolutely. Genomics has the potential to transform our world in profound ways.
It does.
But it's up to us to ensure that those transformations are positive and benefit all of humanity.
Well said on that note.
Yeah.
I think it's time to wrap up our deep dive into the world of genomics. Any final thoughts for our listeners?
If I had to leave our listeners with one message, it would be this. Stay curious. Genomics is a rapidly evolving field.
It is.
And there's always something new to learn, whether you're a scientist or a healthcare professional or simply someone who's fascinated by, the intricacies of life.
Right.
Keep exploring, keep asking questions, and keep an open mind.
I love that. Stay curious. And on that note, we'll see you next time for another deep dive into the fascinating world of science.
Until then, happy exploring.